Let's talk about something that affects millions of people but doesn't always get the attention it deserves. We're diving deep into a massive public health challenge: India's fight against preventable blindness.
To get a sense of the scale we're dealing with, just look at this number. According to the World Health Organization, a jaw-dropping 2.2 billion people around the globe have some kind of vision impairment. That's more than 1 out of every 4 people on Earth.
But here's the part that's truly mind-boggling. At least 1 billion of those cases, that's nearly half of them, are considered avoidable. This isn't some unsolvable medical mystery. It's really a problem of access, of awareness, and simply getting the treatments we already have to the people who desperately need them.
And this isn't just a health crisis, it's a huge economic one too. The hit to global productivity every single year because of vision impairment is estimated at over $410 billion. Think about the impact that has on individuals, on families, and on entire economies. It's massive.
Okay, so with that global picture in mind, let's zoom in and focus on India, a country that's at the absolute epicenter of this challenge.
This statement right here really says it all. Simply because of its immense population, India has more blind people than any other nation. That makes its mission to find real, scalable solutions incredibly important, not just for its own citizens, but for the whole world.
You know, before you can solve a problem, you have to define it. In India, the clinical definition for blindness is having vision of less than 360. So what does that actually mean? Well, imagine something a person with normal vision could see clearly from 60 meters away. A person who is legally blind would have to be just 3 meters away to see that same thing. Having that clear standard is so important for measuring the problem and knowing if you're making progress.
So what's actually causing this? Well, if you look at the chart, the 2 biggest culprits by far are cataracts and what's called uncorrected refractive error. And here's the thing, both are largely fixable. Cataracts can be treated with a pretty straightforward surgery. And refractive errors? Well, those can be corrected with a simple pair of glasses. This tells us that a huge chunk of blindness in India isn't permanent. It's reversible if we can just overcome barriers like cost and access.
Right, so if the solutions are there, what's the holdup? A huge piece of the puzzle is right here. Just look at the massive gap in medical resources. In high-income countries, you've got about 76 eye specialists for every million people. In low-income countries, that number crashes to less than 4. It's a staggering difference, and it makes delivering care, especially out in rural areas, incredibly difficult.
Now, faced with this enormous challenge, India has been anything but passive. For decades, it's been running one of the world's most ambitious public health programs called the National Program for Control of Blindness and Visual Impairment, or NPCBVI for short.
And this isn't some new program that just popped up. It was launched way back in 1976. It's been constantly evolving, getting stronger, and in 2020, it became a core part of the wider national health mission. And it has set really clear targets, like this one for 2025, to keep pushing forward.
So what's the actual game plan? Well, the goals are pretty comprehensive. It's not just about one thing, like doing more surgeries. The program takes a multi-pronged approach, bringing down the overall numbers, building out the infrastructure, training more healthcare workers, making sure the quality of care is high, and, this is key, getting private companies and NGOs involved to help out. The policy is solid, no doubt. The goals are ambitious and clear. But India is a massive country, and we've already seen how big those resource gaps are. So it makes you wonder, can policy alone really bridge that divide? Can it reach every single person who needs help?
And this is where things get really interesting. This is where technology, specifically artificial intelligence, steps onto the stage. AI is turning out to be a total game changer, giving us a way to basically multiply the efforts of skilled doctors and push eye care out into communities that have been hard to reach.
So how does this work on the ground? It's actually a pretty simple but brilliant 3-step process. First, a local health worker, who doesn't need to be a specialist, takes a picture of a patient's retina using a portable camera. Then, an AI algorithm analyzes that photo in seconds, looking for any signs of trouble. Finally, only the cases that are flagged as high risk get sent over to a specialist, who might be hundreds of miles away, for a final look. It's just a whole new level of efficiency.
So what's going on under the hood? Well, this whole revolution is powered by 2 main types of AI. The first is called computer vision, which is basically teaching a computer how to see and understand medical images, often spotting things a human eye might miss. The other is called natural language processing, or NLP, which gives computers the incredible ability to read and make sense of massive amounts of text in medical records, helping to spot patterns and risks.
And these aren't just abstract ideas. These tools have very specific jobs. One kind of AI is fantastic at screening for diseases like diabetic retinopathy, just from a photo. Another can take a blurry, low-quality image and actually sharpen it, making it clear enough for a doctor to make a diagnosis. Then you have another type that can read through thousands of patient notes to find hidden disease patterns. These are real tools solving real problems right now.
Okay, so we have a strong national policy on one side and this incredibly powerful new technology on the other. The path forward is all about making those two things work together perfectly while also being really honest about the challenges that are still in the way.
One of the smartest things about India's approach is that this eye care program doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's woven into the larger national health mission. It's linked to a child health program that's crucial for early screening, and it connects with the National Health Insurance Scheme. This integration is so important because it means eye care is treated like the essential part of public health that it is.
But, and this is a really big but, we have to remember that as amazing as AI is, it isn't a magic wand. You can't just drop a new technology into a complex healthcare system and expect everything to be perfect. It comes with its own set of very real, very serious hurdles we have to overcome.
And these are the big ones. How do we keep sensitive patient data secure? How do we make sure the AI isn't trained on biased data that might cause it to miss diseases in certain groups of people? How do we solve the black box problem, where we don't always know why an AI made a particular decision? And of course, how do we create rules and regulations that can actually keep up with how fast this technology is changing?
So really, it all comes down to this. AI gives us a revolutionary new way to see disease, to find it earlier, and to manage it more effectively than ever before. But the real test, the ultimate question we have to answer, is whether we can make sure this powerful new vision sees everyone equally. That's the challenge that will define the future of eye care, not just in India, but for all of us.